going back to that breaking news we were telling you about at the top of the hour out of Buckhead. One person is dead after a shooting involving an off-duty Atlanta police officer. Investigators say this all happened at a bar off Irby Street. Good Day Atlanta's Brittany Edney has been live on the scene for us all morning, bringing us the latest details. And Brittany, it has been a developing situation and a very active scene all night.
And investigators, as you can tell, still behind me hours later. Remember, this happened before midnight last night, and APD tells us that the shooting involved an off-duty police officer and added that this particular person was working security at the time of the shooting. Flashing police lights and crime scene tapes around 5 paces in Buckhead. APD says just before midnight, the bar needed security to help deal with a disruptive guest. Adding an off-duty APD officer was working security when he found the man trying to re-enter the bar from the back of the building on Canes Hill Place. Investigators say that when he encountered the man, preliminary information indicates that the suspect had a gun.
He responded to the location and encountered the patient in the back parking lot who was trying to re-enter the establishment. We have information to believe that the patron possessed a firearm. The officer discharged his firearm, and now it's still under investigation.
And you can see that GBI vehicle right over there behind me as they continue to process the scene and investigate what happened. They, of course, are handling the investigation. We'll keep you updated as more details come out about what led up to the shooting. Reporting live in Buckhead, Brittany Edney for Good Day Atlanta.
Brittany, thank you for staying on top of that story. Turning now to some national news. President Trump preparing to leave the White House today for a trip to Israel, where a ceasefire is in effect in Gaza as the country's military continues to pull back troops under the terms of a deal. Also, the wait continues for the release of the remaining hostages, which could happen sometime tonight or early tomorrow ahead of President Trump's visit. Tens of thousands of Israelis join the hostage families in Hostage Square for what they hope will be the last Saturday night of what has been 2 years of waiting. U.S. Special Chief Negotiator Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner addressed the emotional crowd and thanked President Trump.
In the worst of times, he refused to accept the idea that peace in the Mideast was out of reach.
Working with President Trump on this, his commitment to seeing peace, to seeing the hostages return home, to seeing Israel secure and safe, and to seeing the entire Middle East stable and thriving is unmatched.
The U.S. military will establish a ceasefire monitoring base, a civil military coordination center. 200 U.S. troops are already arriving in Israel as part of that mission, but there will be no boots on the ground in Gaza from the U.S. Now back to the White House. The president departs for Israel at 3:30 this afternoon. He's set to arrive in Tel Aviv tomorrow around 2:30 in the morning Eastern time. His first meeting will be with the families of those hostages before delivering remarks. President Trump will then make a stop in Egypt, where he'll take part in a peace ceremony before heading back to Washington. Turning our attention now to Tennessee, where investigators are continuing to search through debris left behind from an explosion at a munitions factory that claimed the lives of more than a dozen people. Fox's Caroline Elliott is live for us outside McEwen, Tennessee, at the site of that tragedy. And Caroline, the details here are just devastating.
Yeah, just horrific. Lindsay, good morning. We know the local sheriff here confirmed that there were no survivors after this explosion. So now the focus is identifying those victims and also figuring out how this happened in the first place. There's almost nothing left at the Accurate Energetic Systems plant following a tragic explosion in central Tennessee Friday morning.
As we get into this, we find it even more devastating than what we thought initially.
Authorities say the blast killed at least 16 people and left little chance for anyone to survive. Now they're trying to reunite families with the remains of their loved ones, but admit it will be a tough task.
We are doing the DNA, but we're going to have to slow walk that because of the scene, the way that the scene is.
That scene is a mix of mangled metal and other debris. The plant, located about 60 miles west of Nashville, made demolition charges and other explosives for the U.S. military and other industries. The explosion was so powerful, people felt it miles away.
When the house shook very hard, it honestly felt like a vehicle drove through our house. But then we found out it was the explosion that was about 10 miles down the road.
Hundreds of local, state, and federal investigators are now combing through the site looking for any clues as to what caused the explosion, a task that could take months.
Every effort is being made to conduct a thorough, methodical, and science-based investigation to find the answers that led to this tragedy and the answers that this community deserves.
And officials say that those answers could take weeks and possibly months. Lindsay.
Caroline, now the numbers have changed a little bit from when this was initially reported. Yesterday we were thinking could be up to 18 people missing, presumed dead, now 16. How confident are they on these numbers, and what are the efforts like to get these family members reunited?
Yeah, Lindsay, well, we know that the first report that came out was 19 people missing, but investigators said that they did find 3 people away from the plant at the time of the explosion. They were found in their homes safely. So good news on that front. But as far as identifying those remains, Lindsay, that's going to be a tough task. The sheriff talked about that yesterday because given the heat and given the damage to the crime scene, a DNA match might be tough. So again, it's something that they're dedicated to doing, dedicated to finding closure for these families. But again, that might be complicated given the scene. Lindsay.
Caroline, thank you for the latest there. A very difficult story. And now again, Caroline Elliott reporting live for us in Tennessee. New this morning, the man accused of killing Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk a month ago has asked a judge for permission to wear civilian clothes in court and also to appear without shackles and cuffs. In a 21-page motion, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson's attorneys say the motion would preserve his constitutional rights to a fair trial. Robinson is charged with aggravated murder and could face the death penalty. He has yet to enter a plea. He's due back in court on Thursday, October 30th. Now, in addition to that, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is investigating the chat platform Discord in connection to Kirk's killing. The suspect reportedly used Discord to plan the crime. Meanwhile, Turning Point USA, co-founded by Charlie Kirk, is planning an alternative musical performance for Super Bowl 60's halftime. It's called the All-American Halftime Show. This comes over controversy over this year's Super Bowl halftime performer Bad Bunny, who has criticized U.S. immigration policies in the past. Visitors to Turning Point's website can vote on musical genres they'd like to see. Performers will be announced at a later date. In other news, actor and singer Tyrese Gibson is publicly addressing his recent arrest on animal cruelty charges. He's now out on bond after turning himself in at the Fulton County Jail. Investigators say his large dog, some King Corsos, killed a neighbor's dog in Buckhead last month. Tuesday on Instagram Live, the Fast and Furious actor explained why he owns such large dogs, saying his decision stemmed over concerns for his personal safety and harassment by stalkers.
I've never had dogs as big as my Cane Corsos, and I actually never wanted to get no Cane Corsos. I've just been dealing with stalkers.
Well, Gibson went on to say how much he loved his neighbors and the city of Atlanta. He also has extended his condolences and asked for forgiveness. Atlanta rapper Young Thug, whose given name is Jeffrey Williams, has a message for young people. Learn from his mistakes and do better than he did. Williams opened up during a special live interview with Fox 5's Portia Bruner yesterday, who was helping host an event aimed at bringing together the city of College Park. Fox 5's Eric Perry has the story.
Listen, you got to focus on your grades. Make sure you at school every day, your attendance and your grades. That's what you need to focus on. You don't need
a special appearance in College Park by Jeffrey Williams, or you might know him as Young Thug. But it was more than songs. It was a day for the community to celebrate, connect, and to show pride at the 9th Citywide Festival for College Park. It was hosted by council member Roderick Gay at Phillips Park.
Don't do the wrong thing, man. That's really you know, the most substantial thing I learned, like, don't do nothing wrong because the odds are already against us.
Williams, who is working to move beyond the YSL trial, held a special live interview with Fox 5's own Portia Bruner. He also took questions from the youth in the audience.
The 20th chance, and we ain't gonna mess it up, you know?
He told Fox 5's Larry Spruill he hopes the kids walk away knowing and doing better.
Be smarter, be wiser, learn from other people's mistakes like mine, because that's why God put mistakes in place.
Eric Perry for Good Day Atlanta.